Panel Moderator Matthew Cantorino.
All right, thank you for being here. Hello, everyone. Okay, great. So, I noticed you've been backstage there listening to the whole show.
I've been enjoying this.
Very attentive, yeah. So what have you thought so far about the kind of concepts that people come up with and thoughts they've had about integrating e-bikes into, everyday transport? I mean, you've heard a lot of people talk today, as has the audience. What do you think?
It's been a great experience because I love the style, the way this is. It's kind of like, chatting rather than presentations. And you really get into the emotions and why people are doing things. And what I found really interesting is so many people seeing the same problem and really a lot of different solutions. And it was also cool to see a couple people saying, there's plenty of room for multiple solutions, which is a great thing. That's a very American thing. Very diverse. It's like recognizing that,
Well, that's what they say now, we'll see what happens.
Once the money starts flowing.
Exactly. That kind of brings us to my first question for you, though, which is, why did you feel that the world needed another e-bike? I mean, that's what the fluid product from Fuell is an e-bike. Mm-hmm. Why did you think the world needed a different one than the hundreds that are already out there?
Well, we started Fuell, the three of us who initially kicked it off, looking at the whole urban situation, urban mobility, and kind of what was going on in all this space. And we're pretty experienced guys, but also very youthful thinking. And we saw some areas where there was real space to address needs. And that was kind of what we call, urban to suburban, the longer trip. And also, the personally owned vehicle space for that. And so that's what we've done. So we wanted to, definitely, I belong back on motorcycling, and we said, this really is not a motorcycle company in the classic sense of the word, particularly in the classic American sense of the word.
What's that classic American sense?
It's a recreational vehicle.
Okay.
It's a lifestyle vehicle. That's
not something practical or daily use.
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
And that's not at all the view of motorcycles in the world. As somebody mentioned earlier, there's 1.5 billion people using power two-wheelers in the world.
Right.
And 62 million new ones sold every year. So it's a very real business. And it's a very practical one, which I think everyone here is addressing, is how can we be more green, to the planet. And, a motorcycle is, very slim, narrow way of getting through there. They don't weigh very much, So it's really a very practical way of getting transportation around. And the advances that were coming in technology said, okay, with being able to communicate with each other, with the products, vehicles, and AI, communicating new safety devices, advances in battery technology, advances in rapid charging, okay, it's becoming a real business. Now we can see where we can fit and fill that gap. There's a lot of solutions for right in the urban community. And of course, automobiles are a wonderful solution for the highways in America. They're a terrible solution for the city. So we were looking for, where that would fit. And, initial hit would be in Europe. Right. Because Francois and Fred are both Parisians originally, and they live in that world where a tremendous number of people use two-wheel to commute in every day.
Right. And why do you think Americans have their heads up their asses about this? I mean, I'm seriously, I do travel the world a lot for this job, which is very cool, and it's wonderful to gain perspective on different, the way people do business and live in different regions consistently around the world. Bicycles are like an absolute, fixture in most of these countries, and not here. Here, it is recreational. You're taking your life in your hands. There's a lot of connotations around it.
Yes. Yeah. And I know, a couple of reasons that happened. One is America has a unique situation where we have a fantastic road network, and we have a very large country with the cities separated a lot. So I think, transportation in the U.S. grew around automobiles getting between those cities. They're quite far apart, and that's different in other countries. Also, our cities were not packed they're becoming packed. So we're heading that way. So that's why we're seeing people recognize that. We're a little behind, but you know, the e-bicycle thing really took off in Europe, and it's definitely taken off here. And we think the same thing will happen with motorcycles. It's also a little bit flavored by, maybe a little bit by the PR of the motorcycle companies themselves, who saw there was a good profitability in being lifestyle companies, you know, and selling to the elite, selling expensive,
Right.
you know, $40,000,
Right, $30,000
$40,000 bikes, you know. And so that's you know, that's kind of the image they've sold. And, you know, it's a good business image, but there's a world outside of that.
Right.
A
And
pretty
potentially
big
much larger, right? Yeah. Do you think one of the things you and I kind of talked about or commiserated about backstage is this concept of like, hey, ban cars, right? Like cars need to go out of cities, they need to end, you know, do you think that's the answer?
No, you know, it's again the same thing of like, okay, let's all get along with one another. Let's see how things work. And you know, sometimes it'll be a government solution. If there's no other solution, let's ban something. I could tell jokes about that, the old Russian joke. You know, comes, you know, the guy says, you know, because this is an authoritarian government was taking over, says, comes a revolution, everyone will have strawberries and cream. The guy says, I hate strawberries and cream, I'm allergic. He goes, doesn't matter, comes a revolution, everyone has strawberries and cream.
Right.
It's kind of that.
I want to avoid getting that.
I don't want to get there. But that's part of our job as technical people, and the people who are solving is, if you know, the people who are in politicians in charge of the cities, they look to technical solutions. If there isn't something, they might have to do something that they'd rather not do. So it's important for those of us in technology to have the products ready that will help fix that. You know, and that's what's going on. I mean, with a lot of people who've been up speaking today, it's exciting.
So let's get a little bit more specific about Fuell, which is the e-bike that you built. So I guess, you know, you've had a very long career in motorcycling. You've introduced a lot of innovations which are still recognized as, you know, kind of modernizing, revolutionizing racing bikes, road bikes. So what fascinated you about the problem of e-bikes that you're like, I gotta build one of these things? What makes Fuell better, I guess?
Well, I'm an avid road bicyclist as well as a motorcycle. But, you know, what we were looking at is, you know, being a bicyclist, what you see is with an e-bike is, okay, you can take a bicycle and put a little bit of an e-motor on it, just a little bit. But on the other hand, what if you had more range? What if you could go further than those e-bikes? And that's what the Fluid is. We wanted to get, you know, there's going to be, we feel, a large range of potential products for fuel. But we wanted to kind of capture this, you know, it's kind of upper edge of an e-bike. It's heading towards a motorcycle. It's not any faster. It's all limited by the same rules, but we want to be at the upper end of performance, the upper end of durability, and the upper range of range. So we can go 125 miles if you're not on full boost, if you run minimal assist. And that makes it more than just a short distance, you know, vehicle. And so that's what we wanted to do with Fluid, just do a premium thing there to take that space and also say, okay, we're not a motorcycle company exactly. We're an urban mobility company, and then we bookended that with Flow, which is not being shipped yet, it's still under development, but a very radical approach to a motorcycle for that kind of usage, which has more storage space, more speed, you know, more range.
Right. I'll come back to Flow if you want to talk about that. But on Fluid, I have ridden one very briefly, but I rode one. It's great. It's cool. I've ridden a lot of e-bikes, and it's definitely a premium experience. It looks good, you know, in my opinion. You know, looks are obviously personal, but one of the things that struck me was, you know, how smooth it was, the action for acceleration and braking. A lot of that was just, it felt a little bit more fluid and a lot less hard start, hard stop scenarios. So you chose to go with you didn't go with like a Bosch motor. Would you end up using for your motor?
Well, we went to a company that did a proprietary motor for us.
Okay.
And part of that was that experience. Being a bicyclist a lot, you don't want a chunky feel. You want it to be very smooth and fluid. And you want it to, you know, as you start pedaling, you almost don't know that it's happening. It's just like, wow, I'm going way faster than I should be. You know, it's way easier going up this hill. So there's a lot of that is let's try to make it feel very, very non-mechanical. You know?
Yeah. And did you do a lot of custom work on the bike?
it's a it's a totally unique bike.
And why do you think that a lot of the e-bikes out there just they don't look like something that you'd love to own? They look like something that's operational, that works and it's functional. But there seems to be this basic gap, and it's almost like an emotional thing. Motorcycles are obviously very well, integrated with this emotive thing. I want to own this thing that looks fast and makes me feel good riding it.
I think it's, again, style is kind of in the eye of the beholder, right? So a lot of people, and some of the bikes and e-bikes have been done in a very utilitarian way, which might appeal to certain people who say that's what I want that bike to be, But we kind of had an image that we wanted some style and, bring some elegance to the bike, and just for that group of customers, again, there's no solution that's wrong, but we felt there was a spot that was right for us. We had a new design, so we get 2 batteries. That was one of our goals. We had one of the double-sized battery. Now we put that in a package. So there's a lot of work actually coming up with that design.
And you have, how long was the design process, the engineering process for Fuell?
It was actually probably pretty fast. To get to the prototyping stage, it was probably 6 months, 8 months.
Okay, gotcha. And are you manufacturing that in the U.S. or?
No, we're not. That's being manufactured overseas.
And was that a reason? Was that like an efficiency thing?
Well, it really was. It was the quickest way for it to get done, and we could go to someone who'd done products similar, and we had some experience. We could see that they did a quality job, because that's really big for us. It's got to be super high quality. That's our first product. When it comes to the things that are more radical, we'll probably have to manufacture them.
Gotcha. And why'd you launch an Indiegogo? What was the impetus behind that?
Well, that really started as how do we get a market? What's a way to get a market survey and make a little money and just kind of see who responds? So we really didn't have big goals for Indiegogo. It was more about who's buying them, where are they buying them, where is the response? And it kind of took off. And we were like, okay, let's stop. More than enough sold for that. We've got to take a break,
Sure.
and then come back to the other methods of sales and distribution.
Cool. So let's talk a little bit about flow. So what is flow? Explain what flow is.
Well, with flow, our goal was we said, there's a space. I've been studying, and doing concept electric motorcycles for some time. Didn't even do, started a part of work on an electric city bike back in the days of Harley. And did some more consulting project bikes for companies. But fundamentally, what I kept looking at is where is there a sweet spot where I could do an electric vehicle that did not just make an electric version of a gasoline, of an internal combustion vehicle, but where can I do that? In some ways it's better, but in other ways maybe where can I do a product that's right now when it launched is a better product that you could ever get than an internal combustion bike. So that became this thing of making a scooter replacement that's slim, light, nimble, quick, not about top speed, but quick accelerating, super handling, and has huge storage space inside, bigger than most scooters, and yet still looks like a motorcycle. But it's also had to look more like an it had to be, definitely look at it and say, it's a motorcycle, but it's nothing I've seen before. So that was that was the goal. It was an intense process. We had a lot of time in that project. Because once we started, we decided to set this brief of what do we want to accomplish. I just have to throw out design after design, and as they morph, you go, you know what? I don't have to do it the old way at all. In fact, the only way I can do it well is completely differently than I've ever done one before.
And so explain a little bit about the motor system on the Flow, because it is different than most other electronic motorcycles, right?
Yeah, it's got a wheel motor, but it's new technology, and to make sure that it's durable and light, and very high torque, and also very smooth, so there's no notchiness in it. And the reason I wanted to do a hub motor, the biggest reason was I want the space back on the vehicle. I wanted the storage space. If I put the motor on the vehicle, then all of a sudden that's burned a big chunk of space. If I can put it back there, I also don't have to have a drive system.
Right.
I don't have to have a bell sprockets, all those things. And one of the goals was low maintenance and very lightweight. So every part I could get rid of helps me towards that goal.
Yeah, and it's much more immediate action to the wheel and to the ground. Right on the hub. And you mentioned storage space, so that's a function that adds to utility, right? Which kind of plays into this whole like, hey, if you need to go 40 miles every day or whatever, this is a vehicle you could absolutely use.
Yes, and you can go on your way home, you can pick up all the groceries and whatever else, stop at the hardware store, buy some tools.
Right.
Well, maybe not a break.
Right.
But I've loaded in, Milwaukee.
The way my kids, I don't know if I can do the groceries, but yeah, exactly. And I've sat on, I haven't ridden it yet. It's still a prototype, right? But you have.
Yeah.
So what's the feeling of riding that versus, I mean, the motorcycle's all you like. What's the feel of riding that versus a combustion bike?
It's one of my favorite. I actually, maybe probably because I'm going deaf, but I rode racing motorcycles and I played loud guitar stuff and everything else. And I like silence. And it is silent, and that's weird. And yet it's very quick. And the other thing I'm really happy with is very nimble. It's light, and the weight distribution makes the bike feel incredibly nimble. I've never built anything that felt that light and nimble.
And your battery packs are placed underneath the chassis, right, to keep that center of gravity.
Yes, the batteries go low and forward as low as we can put it, with the storage on top of it. Where you're on a normal motorcycle, the gas tank would be, that opens up and there's 50 liters of storage in there. So they're huge. And it's all made out of magnesium die castings, so it's really light.
How much is this thing gonna cost?
It's good, around 11,000 pounds.
Okay,
So
that's aggressive.
That's very aggressive, and the only way, that was one of the things in the brief that made us go back and start having to say, I can't do it this way. And how am I going to get the cost down? So you start, you have the bill of materials, and again, I've got, sadly, decades of experience of doing everything from $40,000 bikes to $600 retail bikes. So you really got to think about all the pieces in that, and how you're going to do that, and how you're going to make one part do 2 jobs, or 3 jobs, or 4 jobs, and I just had to keep iterating that until I kind of purged myself of the standard solutions and went, oh my God, this is more like a power tool.
Right. Like a drill.
Yeah. The drill with wheels.
I would ride that. I would definitely ride that. And who's the customer? Who's your ideal customer for this kind of bike?
Well, we think there's a wide range of customers. For us, anyone who's commuting into the city right now on a scooter or lightweight, motorcycle with some saddlebags on, this would be a great solution. As an extra bike for people, and some people do that in Europe who don't really buy motorcycles for any other way, they just use it as a commuter. And then there's other guys who have a sport bike as well, or a cruiser as well, and then they use this as a commuter. We did market surveys before we started, get a lot of people's minds of what would get you to buy an electric motorcycle. Why haven't you? Why would you like an electric motorcycle? We do a lot of that ahead of time. And then when we had the prototype done, we did a pop-up store in New York, and we brought in the Highway Rider group one night, and we brought in a Ducati rider. Okay, so the answer was, okay, we know about Europeans, because we already done that survey. You guys are watching electric motorcycle or scooter with storage, and the answer is yes, but they're too expensive now, or they're too this, and so we knew that. But the answer was, how would the American motorcycle community react? And we brought those together on different nights, so they would argue. And both groups walked in, like this, and then they just opened up, and they're like, wow, that's cool.
Right.
And I couldn't replace my bike with that, but I think I need one of these.
That's good. That's a good sign. Yeah. And I'm guessing that a lot of that has to do with exactly what you're saying. That there are things that you could do with that once you kind of let go of those emotions that they're never going to be able to do with their bike. They're never going to have that storage.
Yep.
They're never going to kind of get that really low COG, any of that stuff. It's not going to happen because of the physicality of the bike, right?
Right? Yeah. I remember one guy saying to me, I love my sport. He says, I like this. This really does look sporty, because I like to ride my Ducati into work, but in the Holland Tunnel, the meat of my leg starts boiling off of my head. But I understand. I can relate to that.
Right. Yeah, you don't want to boil your legs on your commute. Yeah, I think everybody can agree with that one. And then, what's the kind of basic timeline of that, like the arrival of that?
Well, as soon as we can get there.
Okay.
All right, it's gonna take, more funds, and we're still raising that. We've got a lot of interest in that. And we have more testing and stuff to do on that because it's more radical. But, and then we're also working on other designs. But there's a huge space there that we think is a tremendous opportunity. One of the things, there's a global opportunity, not only what we're doing in US cities and European cities, but we, as technical people, what we're used to, we need to address the problems of the world. And so the two-wheeler, we need to address safety as long as that, as the guy from David mentioned earlier, and that's big on our list. It's not, we're going to incorporate it. We didn't build a company around it. We're going to incorporate every bit of safety we can all the way. We're talking to people like Arco and all sorts of things. This communicating. But then also, what about the 62 million new bikes sold every year? How can we start replacing those with electric? Because when you think of the scope of that, in Indonesia, or whether it's China, or Jakarta, or Stella, or wherever it is, those of us who've been all over the world and been immersed in this, you go, wow, this is something we need to help. And Americans are really good because we're so diverse. We have this really interesting mix of so many different cultures and everything here that gives us we tend to be pretty innovative in solutions. But, and I have in the past applied that to the traditional motorcycle market, which is, again, high-end, premium, luxury item. But why not apply that thinking towards global solutions? And that's what gets me fired up every morning.
Well, excellent. Sounds good. I mean, it's absolutely a goal I think we can all look forward to. I think two-wheel is an enormous opportunity. Obviously, you do too.
Yes.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thanks, man.
Thank you.